Faced with Haizi's choice, God clenched his teeth, his expression darkening further. Yet, he no longer tried to dissuade him. Instead, he turned and, together with the twins, launched into a battle of the grand heavenly venerates. The thunderous roar spread in all directions, shaking heaven and earth. Amid this chaos, Dao Yi drew near Wang Lin. His blood-red eyes glinted with murderous intent. He would kill Wang Lin and wash away his shame with Wang Lin's blood. Wang Lin's face remained as cold as ever, yet in his black eyes blazed a rare battle intent. It had been dormant for a long time, born from his comprehension of the law of battle back in the abode realm. This was the pinnacle cry of a cultivator. What is there to fear in battle? Dao Yi, standing atop the skull of the immortal progenitor, Wang Lin let out a low roar toward the heavens. His black hair lifted without wind, and as his right hand rose, a golden shard appeared. It was none other than the fragment of the immortal extreme sword that God had once given him on the long street. Back then, God would never have imagined that Wang Lin could survive the Morning Clan's schemes. If he had known, he would never have handed over this fragment. As the shard merged into his body, Wang Lin's black eyes gleamed with an uncanny light. He stepped forward, lifted his hand, and slammed it against his chest. 5 elements avatar, emerge. 3 great virtual origins, emerge. Seals, primordial beginning, emerge. With that strike, everything within him, except for slaughter, silent annihilation, and the lightning that bound them, burst forth. With no other sources left, only slaughter and silent annihilation intertwined by lightning remained. Wang Lin's entire being transformed into the embodiment of slaughter and world-ending annihilation. He stepped forward and charged straight at Dao Yi. The two clashed midair, a thunderous slaughter erupting. Dao Yi roared. With the cultivation of a grand heavenly venerable, he summoned the power of the sun, merging all things into one. Raising his hand, divine powers descended, imbued with the force of his faith. Each strike shattered Wang Lin's black-haired form, yet Wang Lin refused to perish. Damn it! After becoming black-haired, this Wang Lin is unbearably troublesome. Dao Yi gritted his teeth, suppressing the searing pain of the cursed power within him. He struck again and again, yet was forced back each time, the curse on his body growing heavier under Wang Lin's relentless assault. A roar thundered as Wang Lin's black-haired body collapsed once more, scattering into countless wisps of black mist. They slithered with eerie life, brimming with spirit, converging on Dao Yi. The mist condensed outside his body, and from it stretched forth a finger, pointing straight at him. Dao Yi spun violently. His face was nearly skeletal, flesh peeling away, blood seeping from the gaps. With a punch, heaven and earth froze. The black mist too halted in place. His fist fell, shattering Wang Lin's finger, scattering the mist. Yet only 10 feet away, the mist reformed, reshaping into Wang Lin's figure. Dao Yi staggered back 3 full steps, his body trembling. The inextinguishable aura of slaughter within him fused with his cursed power, wrenching a howl of agony from his throat. Wang Lin's black eyes remained cold as he surged forward again. At the same time, the 5 elements avatar he had cast out surged with new might. Because of the shard of the immortal extreme sword, the last of his 5 elements origins, the metal origin, suddenly reached completion. Though he had not yet condensed a true origin body, the 5 elements were now whole, circulating in perfect harmony, flowing endlessly. Unified, his 5 elements avatar erupted with earth-shattering force. Lifting its head, it fixed its gaze on Dao Yi, locked in battle with Wang Lin's black-haired form. With a single stride, 5 radiant colors swirled around its body as if it wore a cloak of light. Black for the earth, yellow for metal, green for wood, the power of life, blue for water, the endless waves, red for fire, blazing fiercely. As the 5 elements avatar closed in, it raised its right hand. The forces of the 5 elements surged. The black earth transformed into a boundless, illusory land, alive with Earth's origin. With a tremor, the land gave birth to a colossal figure of soil that rose behind Dao Yi and hurled a mighty punch. The golden metal burst forth next, blazing with brilliance. Innumerable phantom swords, each carrying the essence of metal origin, manifested and rained down upon Dao Yi in a storm of blades. The wood origin gave rise to a massive ancient tree, hundreds of feet tall, descending from the heavens to smash toward Dao Yi with world-rending force. The water origin and fire origin fused into a tidal sea of blazing waves, surging around Dao Yi and sweeping toward him with explosive might. At that instant, Wang Lin's black-haired figure shimmered. His body exploded into countless bolts of black lightning, streaking toward Dao Yi. This was the combined fury of the slaughter body and the five elements avatar, the ultimate strike. The heavens quaked under the onslaught. Dao Yi let out a shrill scream. His robes were torn to shreds, blood gushed from the skeletal seams of his face, and behind him, the hazy sun collapsed in an instant. The collapse of the sun transformed into a devastating force. It shattered the colossal tree crashing down from above, tore the earth being into fragments, sent the sea of fire and water surging back upon itself, and broke the myriad golden swords into pieces. Yet in this scattering of the five elements, they converged once more, forming Wang Lin's five elements avatar. At the same time, countless bolts of thunder erupted from black-haired Wang Lin, bursting into deafening roars. They retreated as waves of black chi before condensing into his figure once again. Dao Yi let out a piercing cry. His face was half bone, hollow sockets still holding eyes that burned like ghostly flames. Yet now, those flames flickered with fear. His terror was not only of Wang Lin, but also of the curse art that had now fully erupted within his body. He could clearly feel it devouring his soul. If he didn't retreat at once to seal himself away for recovery, if he continued this battle, he might very well fall. I refuse this fate. Dao Yi howled to the heavens. His body blurred as he shot upward, desperate to flee. He dared not fight any longer, for the shadow of death was already surging toward him. Seal origin, lock the heavens. Primordial origin, twilight force. Life and death, karmic bond, truth and illusion, scatter and veil the sky. Both black-haired Wang Lin and the five elements avatar spoke in unison. Above Dao Yi, at the instant he was about to escape, the shattered void reformed. A field of glowing runes burst forth, the power of Wang Lin's seal origin, binding the heavens. Behind it, a blazing sun rose, scattering 10,000 rays of light. It merged into the seal origin, forming a radiant lock that sealed the world. Immediately after, three vast void origins surged forth, manifesting as a mist that stretched across the heavens. Within this fog was Wang Lin's Dao, enveloping all directions, barring Dao Yi's escape with immense force. Trying to leave? Black-haired Wang Lin and his five elements avatar, one to the left and one to the right, charged at Dao Yi. In the distance, Di, locked in combat with the twins, froze in shock. Clashing against their white and purple arts, he was forced back, then immediately turned, striding toward Wang Lin. The twins, pale-faced, clenched their teeth and intercepted again. Enough, twins. The immortal emperor is already dead. Do you truly want to watch Dao Yi be destroyed by the curse art? Di roared furiously. The twins faltered. After all, they were still of the immortal clan. Dao Yi's body was already beginning to slough away flesh and blood, leaving him grotesque. In his agony, madness flared in his eyes. Suddenly, invisible flames erupted over his body. With a roar, he slammed his fist upward. Heaven and earth quaked. The barriers forged from seal origin, primordial origin, and the three void origins shattered under the burning of his very essence, allowing Dao Yi to break through. Just as he was about to flee, the eyes of black-haired Wang Lin and the five elements avatar flashed in unison. You may escape, but the Dao Yi sect will not. Black-haired Wang Lin's voice was laced with killing intent and ruin. You think you can fight when you please and leave when you please? Declared the five elements avatar. Dao Yi's madness deepened. He was burning his essence only to escape, to retreat into seclusion as quickly as possible. At this moment, no sect, no clan, not even the immortal clan itself mattered to him. His body blurred as he surged forward. At the same time, Di, seizing on the twins' hesitation, strode forth, seemingly to block Wang Lin's pursuit. Yet in truth, carrying murderous intent. Wang Lin's black-haired form flickered, without the slightest hesitation. At the instant Dao Yi tried to flee and God drew near, his figure dissolved into countless strands of black chi that surged into the 5 elements avatar. In an instant, they fused, forming a blurred silhouette. Seal origin, return. Primordial origin, return. Life and death, karmic bond, truth and illusion, return. 5 elements avatar, slaughter lightning true body, void origin merge. As those words rang out, the blurry figure shifted at incredible speed, reshaping itself into Wang Lin's body. His hair was neither wholly black nor wholly white, half black, half white. As he raised his head, an aura burst from him that made God's pupils constrict. This was his strongest form, apart from the void avatar, his peak state, forged by absorbing a measure of the immortal progenitor's inheritance, by perfecting the 5 elements, and by fusing with slaughter itself. Behind him, a vast and eerie phantom sun appeared, half black, half white. Though indistinct and only a vague outline, its emergence shook the hearts of all. Hai Zi, God, the twins, and even the fleeing Dao Yi. That's no mere phantom spell. This is the heavenly venerable sun. Impossible. He has never stepped into the primordial divine realm. How could he summon the heavenly venerable sun? Though blurred, this is unmistakably its embryonic form. He has forced the heavenly venerable sun into existence by his own power. This was Wang Lin's strongest display yet. At the very instant the heavenly venerable sun appeared, Wang Lin stepped forward. His speed was so sudden, so swift, that he shot straight toward Dao Yi, whose face was filled with shock. God's eyes grew solemn, his pupils sharply contracting. His body trembled as he moved to intercept. He could not stand by and watch Dao Yi fall, dragged down by the curse art. The immortal clan he wished to protect must not become a shattered remnant in a world where the balance of power with the ancient clan was broken. The immortal emperor had already fallen. Dao Yi could not be allowed to meet the same fate. God surged forward, his body erupting with dazzling white light. Behind him, a radiant white sun took shape, blazing with brilliance. From within it emerged a colossal white wolf, roaring as it lunged to block Wang Lin. The two drew closer. An instant later, they clashed midair. Wang Lin, Dao Yi must not die, God roared. The white wolf formed by his heavenly venerable sun opened its jaws wide, seeking to devour Wang Lin whole. But Wang Lin's expression remained calm. As the wolf descended, jaws ready to engulf him, the half-black, half-white sun behind him suddenly blazed. In a heartbeat, it shrank at a speed visible to the naked eye, collapsing inward until all of its brilliance surged into Wang Lin's body. In that instant, Wang Lin's body condensed the full power of the heavenly venerable sun's outline. He twisted, and with one swift motion, unleashed a devastating kick toward the white wolf. The great Dao, when mastered, infused even a single punch or kick with the tracks of heaven and earth, summoning divine transformations. His strike caused the very sky to shudder violently. From afar, this was no mere clash between Wang Lin's kick and the white wolf. It was the collision of a blazing white sun against a half-black, half-white sun. A thunderous roar shook the heavens, the shockwaves rolling in all directions. God's white heavenly venerable sun shuddered violently, and the white wolf within howled in agony. Its massive body was torn apart by the impact, leaving only its head, which reeled backward. God's face went pale, his eyes wide with shock. Though bound by the curse art and forced to split his focus to suppress it, though weakened by his battle with the twins, he was still a grand heavenly venerable, one of the strongest of his kind. And yet, his opponent's heavenly venerable sun was incomplete, only an outline, not yet fully formed, like a seed that had not bloomed. But even such an outline had forced him back when he had struck with all the strength he could muster in his current state. It was incomprehensible. The only explanation was that Wang Lin's heavenly venerable sun was no ordinary one. This is no ordinary heavenly venerable sun. God retreated, then charged forward again in haste. But as the two suns collided and shattered, Wang Lin too was forced backward, blood seeping from the corner of his mouth. Yet his body flickered, and he shot into the skies once more, racing straight toward Dao Yi, whose body was now wreathed in black qi, rotting flesh peeling away. In a single step, Wang Lin arrived before him. Dao Yi, unable to flee, went mad. His eyes blazed with frenzy as he threw his head back and roared to the heavens. Raising his right hand, he grasped the void. A black crescent blade materialized, releasing a flood of murderous aura that swirled around him before cleaving down at Wang Lin. Wang Lin, if you want to kill me, then we'll perish together. Dao Yi's frenzied slash cut straight toward him. But at the instant the blade's light swept past, Wang Lin's body shuddered and split into 99 shadow illusions. The illusions surrounded Dao Yi, the black crescent blade cutting through them in a thunderous storm. 90 or more shattered, but the remaining ones pierced through, reforming into Wang Lin's body before Dao Yi himself. Pale-faced, Wang Lin raised his hand, pointing a single finger directly at the brow of Dao Yi's skull-like forehead. With a deafening boom, Dao Yi's body plummeted from the sky, screaming in agony. The curse art erupted fully within him, tearing his body apart. Flesh and blood ripped away, his garments shredded, leaving most of his form reduced to bare bone. He crashed into the ruined earth below with a thunderous impact. I am not reconciled to this. Dao Yi's wails were filled with hate. Had he not been shackled by the curse art, Wang Lin could never have defeated him so wretchedly. Yet this was his reality, broken and humiliated. Wang Lin, enough. The immortal progenitor's skull, you may take it. Haizi, you may spare Wang Lin, but you must save Dao Yi. God gave chase, shouting with gritted teeth. Haizi remained silent. Raising his right hand, he gestured toward Dao Yi's broken body lying on the earth. With the power of the Morning Clan, let the thoughts of the living and the memories of the dead converge. Let what exists continue, and what is scattered, be stilled. As Haizi waved, a ripple of azure light spread over Dao Yi's body. The ripples surged outward, and as Wang Lin closed in, it was as if he stepped into mire, his movements slowed and restrained. His eyes flickered, and in an instant, countless black threads burst from Wang Lin's body, surging straight toward Dao Yi. They pierced through the layers of azure ripples, gathering upon Dao Yi's body, and there, they condensed into the form of Wang Lin himself. Dao Yi, consumed by madness, was about to resist with everything he had, but the curse art power within him erupted in full. The moment he tried to unleash his divine abilities, his body seemed to collapse, flesh tearing apart even more. Amid his screams, the illusory figure of Wang Lin materialized outside his body and stomped down hard on his chest, pinning him brutally to the ground, unable to move. If you wish to fight, then fight. If not, then don't. Do you think everything will always go as you wish? It was Dao Yi who struck at me first. If I am to relent now, there must be a price. With one foot pressing Dao Yi down, Wang Lin raised his head calmly, eyes steady as he gazed at the swiftly approaching God, and spoke slowly. God halted 100 zhang away, his expression dark. His gaze locked onto Wang Lin, and with every passing moment, the curse art power within his own body grew increasingly restless. What price do you demand? God inhaled deeply, forcing himself to calm. Wang Lin pressed his right foot harder against Dao Yi's chest. Instantly, the black energy around Dao Yi's body surged once more. Under this torment, Dao Yi's eyes grew frenzied, then unfocused, overwhelmed by a pain he had never before experienced, mixed with the humiliation of being trampled beneath Wang Lin's foot. I want that infant skull. Wang Lin's eyes flashed subtly as he spoke with utter calm. God's brow furrowed. Dao Yi, hand over the skull, and you may leave. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged. Though he held the advantage, he had never intended to kill Dao Yi. After all, this situation had only arisen because of the curse art upon these grand heavenly venerates, not because his cultivation was truly enough to ignore them. Dao Yi glared at Wang Lin, as if to etch his face forever into memory. Dao Yi, give it to him. God barked coldly. Dao Yi knew his time was running out. His injuries were grave, and expelling the curse art power within was already near impossible. If delayed further, even if he did succeed, his cultivation would suffer greatly. With a roar, as Wang Lin loosened his foot slightly, Dao Yi raised his right hand, grasped into the void, and instantly produced a skull the size of a fist. Releasing it from his grasp, Dao Yi's body trembled, then shot skyward, piercing into the void and vanishing without a trace. The skull resembled the cranium of an infant, radiating death energy. The moment it appeared, that aura exploded outward, spreading in all directions, as if merging into the void itself, stirring the heavens. That familiar sensation immediately rose vividly within Wang Lin's mind. He lifted his hand and waved, drawing the skull toward him, and it flew into his possession. After securing the skull, Wang Lin stepped back, returning to the side of the immortal progenitor's head. The madman still lay unconscious upon it. Wang Lin, you and the Morning Clan may have disrupted my plans, but you are the greatest gain here today. Remember this. Once we leave, you must quickly ascend to become a grand heavenly venerable. Otherwise, once I dispel the curse art within me, you will owe me an explanation. Jiodi's tone carried no pretense. His status allowed him to speak bluntly, and he did so without hesitation. And you, twin heavenly venerable, if Dao Yi does not recover, if the balance between the immortal clan and the Gu clan shatters, then you will personally witness the blood of my immortal clan's people under Gu clan slaughter. When that happens, your Violet Sun sect will not escape unscathed. My plan was flawless, to let all the grand heavenly venerates of the immortal clan divide the relics of the immortal progenitor, strengthening us, ushering in a new generation, and forever ending the lineage of the immortal emperors. But because of you, everything has changed. You will bear the consequences. Jiodi sneered coldly. The twin heavenly venerable remained silent. Yet in her eyes flickered both complexity and confusion. Wang Lin felt a pang of guilt as he looked at her, his heart hardening with resolve. I owe twin heavenly venerable deeply. The only way to repay her is to do everything in my power to prevent war between the Gu clan and the immortal clan, so she will not regret her choice today. What I have decided, I will not go back on. The twin heavenly venerable finally spoke after a long silence, her voice cold. Good, very good. Jiodi burst into laughter, his eyes icy as he turned to Wang Lin. I will allow you to take the immortal progenitor's head, but Lian Daofei cannot leave with you. This matter is not open to negotiation. Take the head and depart. I have already compromised. If you still intend to take Lian Daofei by force, then I will unleash my curse art power here and now. Even if it costs me dearly and I may never recover fully, I will ensure you remain here. Twin heavenly venerable, you may aid him in seizing the immortal progenitor's head. But with the immortal emperor already fallen and the progenitor's head damaged, you should know well the role Lian Daofei plays in this place. Jiodi's words were measured but heavy. Wang Lin's expression stayed calm, though his pupils contracted sharply. Wang Lin, leave Lian Daofei behind. The twin heavenly venerable, after a pause, turned to him and spoke quietly. Wang Lin would never believe that Jiodi, as he had claimed, would truly stop suppressing the curse art within him and let himself recover. That was impossible. Yet when it came to the words of the twins, Wang Lin could not ignore them. In his heart, he already owed them. Since she had spoken in this way, Wang Lin could only remain silent. Give me one reason. After a long silence, Wang Lin finally forced the words out. He did not look at Jiodi, but fixed his gaze on the twin grand heavenly venerable. The immortal emperor has fallen. Lian Daofei is of great importance to the immortal clan. The twin grand heavenly venerable sighed softly, her eyes locking with Wang Lin's. Wang Lin, Lian Daofei must remain here. The one who spoke this time was the ever-silent ocean child heavenly venerable. Her voice was quiet as she looked at Wang Lin. This place is the Forbidden Palace. Though it now lies in ruins, it will eventually restore itself. To the immortal clan, the Forbidden Palace holds great significance, for it houses the head of the immortal progenitor. The immortal progenitor's head suppresses the spirits of the 72 continents. It is only because of its existence that those spirits have remained sealed. If the head were damaged, then nothing could suppress them anymore. The living spirits would run rampant, and even some who had long perished would escape from their illusory state and return to the void. When that happens, the immortal clan will descend into chaos. Continents will collapse and vanish. The clan will face a catastrophe. According to our clan's plan, we never sought to destroy the immortal clan outright. That's why, after dividing the immortal progenitor's head, we intended to choose one person to slumber here in its place, to take its role in suppressing the 72 spirits. That person we chose is Lian Daofei. He carries the bloodline of the immortal progenitor and has inherited a portion of his cultivation. Over the years, we have planted seeds within him. Once awakened, he can inherit the progenitor's power and ascend to the realm of a grand heavenly venerable. With that cultivation, combined with our secret arts, he can achieve the suppression we need. That is why you cannot take him. If you force the matter, I will act against you. Ocean Child spoke gently but firmly. Wang Lin, leave Lian Daofei. His life will not be in danger. He will only remain here to suppress the 72 spirits. The twin sighed deeply, looking at Wang Lin. It was the second time she had spoken so. Jiudi stood to the side, coldly watching without a word. Wang Lin remained silent. He stared at the unconscious madman lying upon the immortal progenitor's head. Without hesitation, he spoke. I give up the immortal progenitor's head, but I will take Lian Daofei. Give up? Even if you return it, the head can no longer serve its purpose. The immortal emperor split it apart. The cultivation within has been scattered. This object is already useless for suppression. Jiudi snorted coldly. At once, Wang Lin's face turned pale. Struggle and turmoil flashed in his eyes. Jiudi's words were simple, undeniable, and Wang Lin understood they were true. Wang Lin, leave Lian Daofei. For the third time, the twin repeated her plea. Time dragged on. Inside Wang Lin, storms of conflict raged. At last, after what felt like ages, he let out a long sigh. He could not take the madman by force. The twin grand heavenly venerable would stop him. Jiudi would act. Ocean Child as well. Against the three of them, he had no chance. More than that, if he did take the madman, the immortal clan would descend into chaos. Wang Lin might not care, but the twins who had helped him all along would be left in a perilous position. Even the Violet Sun Sect could be destroyed. Bitter silence filled his face. He looked once more at the unconscious madman, then slowly closed his eyes. Madman, the day I return to this immortal palace will be the day I rescue you completely. I swear it. Raising his right hand, Wang Lin struck the immortal progenitor's head. At once, it transformed into golden light and flew into his storage dimension. Lifting his gaze, he snapped coldly. Jiudi, no need to come searching for me. One day, I will return. With that, his body flickered and soared into the sky. He did not look back. He left the unconscious madman behind. His heart ached with sharp pain. This venture into the imperial palace had granted him immense fortune. He had inherited a fragment of the immortal progenitor's legacy, obtained his head, and even condensed the outline of the heavenly venerable Sunday. Yet in the end, he still could not take the madman. If he could choose, Wang Lin would abandon every gain without hesitation just to bring the madman away. But this outcome had been decided from the very beginning. With the Morning Clan's Great Soul Sect ancestors' schemes and calculations, the Immortal Emperor's attempt to seize the madman's body was surely foreseen. Perhaps even that so-called possession was part of his plan, though I unknowingly disrupted it. Even the Immortal Emperor's self-destruction, the division of the curse art among the four grand heavenly venerables, he may have foreseen that too. Yet he did not warn or stop it. Why? Perhaps for the sake of his clan's Ocean Child, or perhaps to ease my wrath against his people. Still, what did he see, that he treats me with such deference? Could it be that, in his eyes, I am more fearsome than even the grand heavenly venerables? Wang Lin thought back to the Great Soul Sect, to that prodigy of the Morning Clan, and to the words he had left behind. Each you, spoken with such deep respect. The twin grand heavenly venerables lowered their heads, glanced at the unconscious Lian Daofei, and let out a quiet sigh. Their figure flickered, rising into the air alongside Wang Lin, and the two disappeared into the distance. As the shattered sky above the Forbidden Palace loomed, Wang Lin, at the moment of stepping out, could not help but lower his head to look below. There, under Heizi's clan technique, the unconscious madman's body burst forth with a blinding golden light. Within that radiance, his form was replaced by a golden sun, enveloping him completely. From that sun surged an immense wave of cultivation, a grand heavenly venerable's power. But this power was not merely the outline of Wang Lin's heavenly venerable sun, it had fully condensed. Under that light, Lian Daofei became the fifth grand heavenly venerable of the immortal clan since the immortal emperor's fall. Yet this fifth grand heavenly venerable would never awaken. His eternal slumber was only to replace the immortal progenitor's severed head, suppressing the spirits of the 72 continents. Wang Lin gazed at the madman who had become a grand heavenly venerable. Beneath the golden sun's radiance, his body slowly transformed into a towering peak, golden light swirling around it as it pierced the heavens. With the mountain's rise, the shattered land mended itself at a speed visible to the naked eye. But unlike before, when 9 peaks stood together, now only this single golden mountain remained. The sky, too, was restored, until at last heaven and earth were whole once again. Wang Lin's gaze lingered on that golden peak for a long moment. Then, burying his oath deep within his heart, he turned and departed abruptly. Stepping beyond the forbidden palace, across the collapsed underground halls, Wang Lin took one stride and vanished. When he reappeared, he was already within the imperial palace of the ancestral city, in the central plains of the immortal clan on the immortal firmament continent. The palace was in ruins. Only a single statue remained, standing alone. It depicted the immortal progenitor, head lifted toward the heavens, arms outstretched as though wielding divine arts. Wang Lin looked upon the statue in silence. Beside him, space rippled and twisted as the twin grand heavenly venerables emerged. The era of the immortal progenitor has ended. His protection will also fade. From now on, the immortal clan will have no more bloodline of the immortal emperor. The twin grand heavenly venerables sighed softly as they looked at the statue. Thank you, Wang Lin said calmly. This was the promise I made to you before. Though the price was heavy, I must also thank you, for when I was divided, you chose to see me only as 2 little girls. Lian Daofei cannot be allowed to leave with you. I hope you understand. After all, I belong to the immortal clan, while you may belong to the Gu clan. Their voice was gentle, steady. Wang Lin remained composed. He turned toward the twin grand heavenly venerables. He did not question how they could discern his true identity, nor did he try to conceal it. Thank you. Wang Lin clasped his fists and bowed. I have obtained the immortal progenitor's eyes. I will return to the Violet Sun Sect and go into seclusion. And you? Will you leave here, or travel with me back to the Violet Sun Sect? I want to make one last visit to the Great Soul Sect, and then I will leave the immortal clan. Wang Lin's eyes settled in the direction of the eastern continent as he spoke slowly. The twin grand heavenly venerables were silent for a while, then sighed. I don't know if helping you was right or wrong, shaking their head. Their body trembled, and with a surge of purple light, they transformed once more into 2 young girls. Exhaustion was written on their faces as they turned back, smiling innocently at Wang Lin. After waving farewell, they became 2 rainbows streaking into the sky. Wawa, when we get back, I want to sleep. I'm so tired. Hanha, how about we check on Little Wolf first, see if he behaved while we were gone, and then go rest? Okay, let's do that. Their clear, childish voices rang like silver bells in the wind as they vanished into the distance. Wang Lin watched their figures go, murmuring softly. Thank you. He closed his eyes, and after a long time, opened them again. With a flicker of his form, he became a rainbow of light, soaring into the heavens. He did not see that, behind him in the ruined palace, Heisi was silently watching his departing figure. In the dimming twilight sky, her expression was filled with melancholy. Heisi, let's go. Behind her, Jiudi emerged, weary, his body already shrouded in faint black qi that he could barely suppress. You didn't try to stop him. I don't blame you. That child is extraordinary. I am old now. The bond your clan has formed with him will be of great help to you in the future. Though wrapped in black miasma, Jiudi's eyes still held kindness and affection as he looked at Heisi. The immortal emperor returned to seclusion once more. This generation's immortal emperor, Lian Daozhen, often retreated into closed cultivation for uncertain spans of time. Thus, when he withdrew again, the cultivators of the immortal clan gave it little thought. Wu Feng returned to the northern continent, to that land of glaciers. The moment he stepped onto it, his entire body was sealed in ice, immersed in the eternal chill that had lasted for countless ages, silently working to expel the curse art within him. Having never once struck back after being afflicted, it was easier for him to dispel the curse than it had been for Dao Yi or God. Moreover, with the ears of the immortal progenitor in his possession, once the last trace of black curse aura was driven out, his cultivation would advance significantly, empowered by that divine relic. Dao Yi, dragging his broken body and bearing excruciating pain and humiliation, forced himself back to the Dao Yi sect. There, he immediately chose seclusion. Yet the curse within him erupted fully, beyond what ordinary methods could expel. But Dao Yi was a grand heavenly venerable, his true nature far more complex than what he let others see. The twin grand heavenly venerables had once said he was a man wearing a mask. In order to disperse the curse without harming his future recovery, Dao Yi gathered his heavenly venerables and several transcendent heavenly venerables within the Dao Yi sect. He even summoned many golden venerables, forcing the curse within him to scatter so that they could share in its burden. The curse was so vicious that any golden venerable who touched it died instantly. Even heavenly venerables, upon contact, found their flesh rotting away while they screamed in agony. Though they could endure slightly longer, death was still inevitable. Only transcendent heavenly venerables, with their immense strength, could endure it. Yet even they paid a terrible price. When all his heavenly venerables and transcendent heavenly venerables had taken their share of the curse, Dao Yi grew mad with desperation, searching for third-step cultivators. Even if they could shoulder just a sliver, it would bring him great benefit. Under such brutal sharing, the Dao Yi sect gradually turned into a sect of death. Meanwhile, God returned to the Dishan Empire with Hai Zi and immediately entered seclusion. His cultivation was already exceedingly powerful. Though the black aura lingered, he could slowly dispel it with his own strength. With Hai Zi's aid, using the arts of the Morning Clan, the curse within God's body would, over time, gradually fade away. Only the twin grand heavenly venerables, untainted due to their restraint, were spared from the curse. Returning to the Violet Sun sect, the two young girls chose seclusion, fusing with the immortal progenitor's eyes. When they emerged, they would have fully healed the weakness left from their previous reincarnation. The immortal clan still had 5 grand heavenly venerables. The 5th, however, lay in slumber beneath the imperial palace, within the forbidden palace that overlapped the palace grounds. There he had transformed into a golden mountain, towering in place to suppress the spirits of the 72 continents. Beneath that mountain, the madman had yet to awaken, as if waiting for Wang Lin's return. Half a year later, in the eastern continent of the immortal clan, on the Heavenly Bull continent, the landscape bore scars from its ancient battle with the Green Devil continent. Many mountain ranges had collapsed, altering its geography. Yet the balance of power among its sects remained unchanged. The Great Soul Sect and the Unity Sect still reigned supreme, with countless smaller sects depending on them. Disciples once sent to the ancestral city had long since returned, each bearing their own fortunes, destined to become pillars of their sects in the years ahead. Within the Great Soul Sect, after Wang Lin's departure, the Azure Ox True One had remained in seclusion, leaving mundane matters to the elders. His only request had been to preserve the mountain once granted to Wang Lin, sealing it as forbidden ground, allowing no outsiders to set foot upon it. At the time, many had not understood, but as Wang Lin's fame soared during the Heavenly Venerable Ascension, and rumors spread of the white-haired transcendent Heavenly Venerable, members of the sect gradually realized the truth. That white-haired cultivator was indeed Wang Lin, and at last, they understood why the Azure Ox True One had chosen to preserve that mountain. Yin Luan, once an elder, now held high authority within the Great Soul Sect, able to make decisions on major affairs. She could have moved to a more privileged abode within the sect's depths, yet she chose to remain upon her mountain. From its summit, she could still see Wang Lin's former abode in the distance. Whenever she recalled the scenes of the past, she would climb to the peak, stand alone, gaze silently at Wang Lin's mountain, and lose herself in silence. Fan Shanlu and Fan Shanming remained her disciples. Their past grudges with Wang Lin had long been resolved, and with the passage of years, they had faded into near-forgotten memories. Among the elders of the Great Soul Sect, a new figure had emerged over the years, Duqing. His body was not of flesh and blood, but of wood, shaped into form by the condensation of his primordial spirit. Chosen personally by the sect's ancient ancestor, he was elevated to elder despite lacking the cultivation of one. Since then, his life had been one of ease, far more comfortable than ever before. Years passed. Within the heavenly bull continent, the Great Soul Sect seemed unchanged through the endless cycles of sunrise and sunset. The mountain remained as it had always been. The pavilion stood just as before. Nothing appeared to have shifted, and yet time had quietly carved its marks. Wang Lin stood outside the Great Soul Sect, gazing at the familiar gates of the sect before him. When he first came here, his understanding of the Great Soul Sect had been hazy at best. Even as he thought he had begun to grasp its essence, it was only after leaving and enduring countless experiences, and finally, within the Imperial Palace, learning of the deep ties between this remote sect and the palace itself, that he realized how little he had truly understood. Even now, there were things about the Great Soul Sect that remained shrouded in mystery. Morning Clan, a line of unmatched prodigies through the ages. That old ancestor of the Great Soul Sect, perhaps dead, perhaps still alive. Yet his plan stretches across tens of thousands of years, foreseeing today's changes from the ancient past. His scheme accounted for everyone, each person just a piece on his board. Step by step, it succeeded, breaking the restriction seal that bound his clan, severing the immortal progenitor's bloodline, and freeing his last surviving clansman from endless captivity. Wang Lin's expression was complicated as he looked at the Great Soul Sect. He had been on the immortal firmament continent for many years, but only now did he understand. In this remote heavenly bull continent, the unremarkable Great Soul Sect, dismissed by many powerful figures, hid secrets reaching back countless millennia. He sighed softly, lifted his foot, and stepped toward the Great Soul Sect. His cultivation now far surpassed that of Azurok's True One and exceeded everyone within the sect. None could sense his arrival. Inside the Great Soul Sect, Wang Lin saw Duqing. He saw Yin Luan standing upon a mountain peak in her fiery red dress, and he also saw Fan Shanming and Fan Shanlu. Without pause, Wang Lin walked toward the deepest part of the sect, the Soul Repository Pavilion he had visited long ago. Back then, Azurok's True One had to open the way before Wang Lin could find it. Now, with a single step, he appeared outside the pavilion. It was a 7-story tower, shrouded in thin mist. 2 enormous beast statues crouched on either side of the entrance, so lifelike they seemed ready to move. The great doors were shut. Silence blanketed the area. Above the entrance hung 3 large characters. Soul Repository Pavilion. Though it appeared to have 7 stories, it actually possessed an 8th, a 9th, and even a 10th level. Azurok's True One once said that even he could not enter the 10th, that it was the place where the Great Soul Sect's ancestor had entered final repose. Wang Lin's gaze was calm as he looked up to the tower's peak. He had come seeking answers, seeking what the Morning Clan's prodigy had left for him. He pushed open the heavy doors and entered. Everything here was familiar. Step by step, stair by stair, he ascended in silence. The creaking of old wood echoed through the quiet tower as Wang Lin climbed the 2nd floor, the 3rd, until he reached the 8th, the same floor from back then. The restrictions that once guarded these halls dispersed as he walked past. None could hinder him now. He looked at the staircase leading to the 9th floor and slowly ascended. On this level floated a number of jade slips, recording the Great Soul Sect's most formidable divine abilities. Here lay the complete multiple illusion art Wang Lin had once longed to obtain. His eyes swept over the jade slips, absorbing their contents, then turned toward an ancient stairway not far away. This stair led to the 10th floor. 13 steps. Wang Lin lifted his foot and crossed them one by one, arriving at the very top, the 10th floor of the Soul Repository Pavilion. The moment he entered, the sight before him silenced him for a long time. His expression grew intricate. At last, after a long pause, he exhaled deeply. So this is what you left for me. This is why you insisted I come here and witness this scene. Morning Clan prodigy. From this moment, The matter of how you used me and my words to Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable is wiped clean. Wang Lin did not linger on the 10th floor. He turned, took a single step, and his figure gradually vanished. As he departed, the full scene within the 10th floor was revealed. It was not large, only about 30 feet across. Within stood a statue and a skeleton. The statue depicted a man gazing downward, eyes filled with a force that could shatter the heavens. His very bearing exuded a cold and effortless authority as he stared icily at the skeleton before him. The skeleton knelt at the statue's feet, its expression carved with pain and pleading. A crack split its skull. Inside, no brain. A hollowed wound gaped in its chest. Inside, no heart. Its withered hands were raised. In the left lay its shriveled brain, in the right its lifeless heart. It stared at the statue, as though still hoping for forgiveness, kneeling there through uncounted ages. This was no ordinary skeleton. It imprisoned the soul of the man himself, his spirit bound by a single, desperate thought, a plea for mercy. The statue was of Wang Lin. The skeleton belonged to the Great Soul Sect's old ancestor, the Morning Clan's peerless prodigy. Volume 13, Dimly Lit Lanterns.